Time now for Inside Utah Politics.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Glen Mills. It is time to go inside Utah politics. We do begin this morning with Taylor Kaufman. He is with the Governor's Office of Planning and Budget, here to dig into a COVID-19 program now taking applications. Taylor, welcome to the show. So glad to have you with us this morning.
Great. Glad to be here. Thanks.
Let's talk about the background. This all came about as part of House Bill 1004, passed during a special session this year. Representative Mike Schultz and Senator Kurt Collimore. Talk about, first off, why? Why did they submit this bill for this program?
Yeah, great question, Glenn. So this is a great opportunity for the state to engage local governments in important local and regional projects that can help us as we manage the recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. This is a great opportunity for us to show that we are judicious stewards of these COVID-19 federal relief funds from the state and from the federal government. It's part of the Governor Cox's One Utah plan. We're happy to be involved and to help local governments with this process of applying for these grants and working together to collaborate on important investments for the future.
Got it. Let's get into some of the nitty-gritty. Talk to us about what the bill entails, how much money up for grabs, etc.
Yeah, so this bill provides $50 million of American Rescue Plan Act funds, or the federal relief funds that the state has that's been given. $50 million to the Governor's Office of Planning and Budget. This $50 million will be used in a competitive grant program to help local governments to partner with and work with local governments in the infrastructure needs and other projects that they see as necessary for rebuilding Utah economy after the pandemic. Yeah,
let's dig a little bit more into that. So you talk about eligible projects. Give us some specific ideas of what we may be familiar with that we could see this money put to use for.
Yeah, so all of these projects these funds use the American Rescue Plan Act funds from the Fiscal Recovery Fund. So they're managed by the U.S. Treasury. The U.S. Treasury provides guidance on how these funds can be used. And so the same type of projects that are eligible under the Treasury guidelines can be used for these funds as well. This would include, the main categories here would be water and sewer projects. This would be housing. This would be broadband infrastructure. Also included, public health projects and economic recovery projects as well.
And who exactly will it be that will be putting in applications for this money?
Yeah, so this program is geared toward local governments, so counties, cities, towns, metro townships, local districts, and special service districts are all eligible to apply for these funds and collaborate with us as we work together to establish and invest in great programs for the future.
You brought up something I want to dig a little more into, and that being the impact on the economy. Yeah. Obviously, when local governments come get these type of funds, they go to work, they put contractors to work, contractors hire people in the community. So talk about how it really goes beyond that to build the economy.
Yeah, so these projects will be used in a variety of ways and helping, for example, in a broadband infrastructure project, this would help bring internet to locations that are underserved or unserved locations and help build the economy in that area. For economic recovery projects, this could include helping sectors of the economy that have struggled, that have been impacted the most by the pandemic, helping provide relief to them, to those businesses and to their employees, helping build back the economy in those areas that need it the most. Housing would be another area where housing is housing projects are very needed in the state right now. Yeah. We can help bring those online to help people afford the cost of living here and be able to be successful workers in our economy.
Yeah, that's a really big one. A lot of people feeling the housing crunch right now as rent and prices to purchase a home just continue to skyrocket. Okay, response. The application process kicked off earlier in the week. What kind of response have you seen so far, and do you expect to see? I imagine it'll be pretty huge.
Yeah, we anticipate a lot of applications coming in. We have had some filtering in the first week. I think a lot of local governments are taking their time to understand what the requirements are of the fund. We've also released on our website the list of criteria by which the projects will be scored by. So although we have had some submit applications already this week, I think many are taking time to understand and put together applications that are strong, that follow that criteria. Additionally, we really are looking for collaborative projects where people are working together, local governments are working together with other local governments, with nonprofits, with other state grants, other state opportunities to leverage funding so that we can have a collaborative effort as we invest in these projects for the future.
Okay, so application will be open from August 16th to September 15th, and you just go right to the portal and take care of all of it right there?
Yeah, the portal can be found at gopb.utah.gov, and local governments can create an account in the application portal, start an application, come back to it as they try to understand the questions and gather resources and submit it all online. Those will be received by our office. We'll review them. We've also enlisted the help of subject matter experts to help us sort through these complex projects.
So that'll be a committee review, correct?
Well, the subject matter experts will help us review and score projects before we hand it off to the 5-member review committee, which will then rank and select the grants, applications that will receive the grant funding.
And what are some of the bigger things they'll be looking for as far as the ones that they ultimately end up selecting?
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned before, collaboration. We really are looking for governments to collaborate together to show that their project can be a multi-generational project, that it provides long-term benefits to their communities, that it can help serve those that were impacted most by the COVID-19 pandemic. So this collaboration and a focused approach, long-term benefits to their project. Okay,
so the committee will be reviewing those in between September 15th and October 15th, and then what will happen after that?
After that, the review committee will present, our office will present the review committee selections to the legislature's Executive Appropriations Committee. After that point, sometime in November, we will notify local governments that have been selected for this grant program and begin awarding those funds so that they can begin working on those important projects.
Okay. You mentioned the website where people can go to begin this process and learn more, but if you wouldn't mind, give us that one more time as we close up the segment.
Yeah, so the application can be found at gopb.utah.gov. It stands for the Governor's Office of Planning and Budget, and we're here to help you through the process. Feel free to reach out to us with questions that you have, and we'll help you through it.
Okay, so as they're filling out applications, they're welcome to call your office as well to figure out anything.
Correct, yeah, we're here to help. We can help with technical assistance and understanding the process, helping them work through what are eligible projects and what are not, and help them through the process.
Okay, Taylor, thanks so much for your time, very interesting, and we'll keep an eye out to see ultimately which projects get the green light on this. Thanks so much for your time today.
Great, thanks.
Watching Inside Utah Politics.
We turn now to a crucial conversation on early education here in Utah. For more on that, we welcome in Kim Fisher with Waterford.org, also a former colleague of mine, and President Stuart Adams of the Utah Senate. So great to have both of you on the show. Thanks so much for being here.
T's for having us.
Kim, let's start with you. Give us a little background about Waterford Upstart, because that's what we're going to be digging into today. What's it all about? When did it get started? How did it get started?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Waterford.org, we've actually been around doing our adaptive software for decades, but it was about 12 years ago that the state of Utah came to us and said, hey, look, we are looking for a solution that would work for all children. And of course, in the state of Utah, it's incredibly rural, so they wanted to find something in the home. So we took our adaptive program that usually works in the classroom with teachers and switched it to where it could be used in the home, gave parents the tools they needed to become their child's first teacher. That includes a computer and internet access, as well as a coach that helps them with those crucial moments that happen offline. Our program's only 15 minutes online, and there's a lot more to the day. So we give the families exactly what they need to know how to educate their children.
And this is about building a foundation prior to kindergarten.
Correct. That's absolutely right.
Okay, President Adams, let's bring you in. I'm not sure if you were involved in the early negotiations of the partnership, but you play a key role in leadership now. So talk about the state partnership and why it's important for the state to be partnering with organizations like this for causes like this.
Well, there's nothing more important to us, Glenn, than our kids. And when you're able to give your kids a great first start into education, there isn't anything more important. When you teach kids how to read and how to do math, when they walk into school, not only do they carry those skills with them, but they carry something more. They carry that self-esteem of having that ability they act smart. And I think that self-esteem is so important. Probably one of the most important things we can give to our kids as they go through, because they start on a solid foundation. The rest of their years, all 12 years plus their college, will be built on those first few days or first few moments in the classroom when they feel like they can actually accomplish something.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about pandemic challenges. Kim, specifically with Waterford Upstart program. I would imagine in a lot of ways this program was actually made perfectly for a time like this.
Yeah, you know, and it was something we've been doing for 12 years. So when, you know, COVID hit and things kind of all went into the home, our program was already made for this. And so, yeah, right when COVID hit, we made it a point to start some summer programs that started last summer with our summer learning path. We were able to go into the home in multiple states and provide our program to these families as kind of like a booster before their children entered kindergarten this past year. And we did it again this summer. But in the state of Utah specifically, we felt it was really important to offer some sort of remediation. And so we are expanding our program this time around to reach every single child in the state of Utah in the year before they hit kindergarten this year.
Okay, but also for kindergartners is
Correct.
My understanding, right? So talk about how that will work.
So we have also expanded our program. We understand that there are going to be children who maybe fell a little behind because of COVID. That's understandable. So we're offering our program to any child that is in kindergarten this year as well. So you just contact us. You will be able to utilize this program throughout the kindergarten year. So we're talking all pre-K and then any kindergarten family that thinks that their child would benefit from this using this program.
President, we definitely saw children come out with detrimental impacts from the pandemic in the school year last year. I know failing grades went up like we haven't seen them. So when you think about that and then you focus in on kindergarten specifically, that's really a big blow to students when you talk about the foundation of education. So how can something like this potentially help get kids on the right track to building that foundation for the future that you just alluded to?
Well, we have kids that have fallen behind, like you mentioned, and this is a great way for them to come back up to grade level and even beyond. What Upstart does is, again, it's a virtual program. They provide the computer, they provide the internet connection, they provide anything anyone needs, regardless of their income, to be able to be part of this program. But something they do that's even more than that is it's parent driven. And so they're actually engaging the parent. And as you try to teach your kids as they go through school, a lot of the interaction needs to happen with the parent and the child. And they're actually helping parents know how to interact with their children because they're involved in that process. And so it actually not only prepares the kid, brings them back up to grade level, or sets them off on a great start in kindergarten, it actually helps the parents interact with their children and figure out how to do that. And that's going to last their entire education career, is that interaction with their parent and getting the parent involved in the child's education, no matter what their income level is.
That's a very important point. I want to dig into that a little more, Kim, from your perspective. Talk about the role of involving parents and what you hope to accomplish through doing that.
Well, research shows that children whose parents are involved just do better in school. And it comes back to exactly what President Adams was talking about, and it's confidence. Not only the child being confident when they enter school, but the parents being confident in the fact that they know what their child is learning and they know how to help them. And so that's exactly what our program aims to do, is give the parents the tools they need to focus on their children and be able to be a part of their education.
I know, moving around through the job, I've lived in school districts that were on the higher end of funding and on the lower end, and I found that to be especially true, that when parents are involved, that's really an important key in a child's education. President, you have personal experience with the Upstart program through your grandchildren, I believe. Talk about that and what it has meant for your family.
Well, I've got 16 grandchildren. I wish all of my grandchildren were on Upstart, but I've had actually a couple of them go through the Upstart program. And I've seen firsthand what it does. They go to school, they're reading, they're doing math, they're at an advanced level type of education. And again, it isn't the fact that they can read and they can do math, which is so important, but it's the self-esteem they have, that love of learning, that self-confidence. It changes their life, and I've seen it change my grandchildren's life that have been involved in it. You know, we've tried lots of different programs in the state as far as pre-K and even educational programs. This started as a pilot, and they actually evaluated this program. They've seen the learning gains go with the kids up in the 3rd and 4th and 5th grades. It stays with them. A very, very effective program. It's been tried and tested over 12 years, and I've seen it, like you mentioned, happen with my own kids, and the change in their attitude and the love of learning. It's a big deal to me, and I think I'm excited now that Upstart's being offered to anybody, everyone. Before it was a limited program, but now anybody who wants to join can.
Kim, talk more about that if you could. This isn't a program just for those children who live in homes with resources, but any child across the state. Talk more about that. Yeah,
we actually started this program trying to find those families who didn't have the resources. And as President Adams had said, we've had random control trials done by third-party evaluators that have shown our program truly works. And so that's why it's been expanded and expanded even more. But this year with COVID, we realized that we needed to do something for all children. And so, you know, even though our legislative funding only goes to a certain number of kids, we have decided to dig into our own pockets and offer this program to any family that signs up. And then that goes for those kindergartners as well. We understand that there is going to be that learning loss that could possibly happen. So if families see that their child is a little behind, this could be a way to help boost that literacy so that they can get right back where they're supposed to be.
President, the school year has started for some already, and it will this week for many others. Your thoughts as we head into this school year, the second year of a pandemic, how do you expect things to play out?
Well, you know, we have resilient parents, we have resilient teachers, we have resilient kids. We do great things in the state of Utah. We do it with less resources and less money than probably any other state. This is, again, I think the future is bright because of great programs like this. And again, if you can have your children be at home with the parent, getting ready for school, and the kids love it. It's a computer program. It's more like a game. 15 minutes a day. I think our future is very, very bright. But it's bright because of the great educators we have and the great people we have that provide great programs like this for our children. And we're going to keep focusing on education, our children. It's the #1 priority for the legislature, always has been and will continue to be, is to make sure our kids get a great education.
Kim, we have about 30 seconds left. Talk more about your pledge and how people can take advantage of that, because you want to reach all 4-year-olds and anyone who is interested into kindergarten as well.
Correct. And so all families have to do is go to our website. It's waterfordupstart.org. You can fill out the form. Takes just about 8 minutes. And we are going to continue registering over the next couple of months. So you still have time. You know, even if your child enters kindergarten, enters pre-K, and you're starting to see, hey, they're a little behind their peers, you can still sign up a couple of weeks from now, a couple months from now, but we really encourage you to get on it today. The earlier you start, the better.
All right, an important and timely conversation. I really appreciate the insight from both of you today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Stay with us. We'll have more Inside Utah Politics right after the break.